Hello, 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 and welcome, and thank you for being here. Hasn't it been a strange, it's been a strange few weeks for broadcasting, for live. We're in a really powerful planetary time right now, and I can only highlight things to you, which is what I'm going to be doing today, because part of what we have to do really is to experience and to listen to nature and listen to what's going on around us. So here we are, live together, position ourselves. And I always try to start off. I try to start off with saying position ourselves. Sometimes I'm so active in what I need to say to you that I forget until halfway through the talk. But where are you right now? Because that's your position. That's where you right now are viewing the universe from. And that's quite crucial because, as you know, when we set a chart up, a birth chart, we ask for date, time, something to say about that in a moment, and place. And that information gives us the coordinates, if you like, of your position on Earth. And that's where we see the universe from, our position. Oh, I just need to check my sound is up. There we go. Probably getting me even louder now. That's good. So, where are you watching from? If you're watching on replay, #replay, let us know. I'm here in nature. Couldn't have done this yesterday. It absolutely poured with rain. Today it's glorious and nature is very, very lush. Because I'm here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're growing. It's the growing energy. We had the Beltane season begin at the beginning of May, the season of transformation. We're also in the growing moon energy because we had the new moon last week and we've got the full moon next week. So it's a growing lunar energy as well. So there's a lot going on about growth. There's a lot going on about transformation. But there's also the beginnings of planets going retrograde. And we had Pluto go retrograde last week, and today it's Mercury's time. Now, what I want to say about that is it's all energy that we can use and we can work with. It's practical energy to choose to use or choose not to use. So let's just think about the Mercury retrograde that we've got right now. It happened about an hour or so ago, and it remains now that retrograde motion. So Mercury is in Gemini, gone retrograde, but it's energy to use. So it's energy of receiving messages, of receiving insights. Now then, it can also be about bringing to the surface those mixed messages. And so that's why I put a post in the group about what are you maybe seeing out there in the media to do with mixed messages. I've added a little bit to it. There's such an obvious one going on at the moment. And that's how we really start to learn about how the stars are available to us as energies to use. So, just an aside actually, I obviously look at the charts for all of the stars all of the time, and especially every morning I look at my ephemeris, look at the charts, look at what the stars are doing. And every post that I put out there, everything I write, everything that I do to help, whether it's in this group, whether it's in the astrology membership, whether it's just on my personal profile, whatever it is, there's also always astrology behind it. Just wanted to say that, because I don't know if I don't always make that obvious. Because, you know, like this morning, well, still, the moon is in Virgo right now. I mean, the moon moves quite quickly. She visits every single sign of the zodiac in her 28.6 day-night cycle. She's in Virgo at the moment. And so I thought, the moon's in Virgo. You know, we've got Pluto retrograde. We've got all sorts of other things going on. It's just the right time to connect with the earth by feet or hands. And so that's why I put the post in the group, connect with the earth by feet or hands. Because we look at the stars for inspiration, and that's what they're there for, to give us inspiration, to give us ideas, to give us extra energy to do this or to do that. But we get to choose, and that's the beauty, the joy of us being human on this earth. So, right, what else do I want to talk to you about? I've got a long list. And that's without even getting to the full moon next Monday. I might have to do an extra live for that. I've been asked this week about time of birth. And I started out just now by saying, look at your position, look at where you are, look at how we are viewing the universe from our positions on Earth. And when we calculate a chart, if it's a birth chart or a chart of doing something, you know, a chart of something happening or a choice we want to make, we look at the chart and we plot it using the date, the place and the time. And that gives us a snapshot of the universe at that moment and what it's doing. Now, certain planets move slower than others, as you know, if you've watched any of these. And so if we don't have an accurate time for something, we can still get a lot of information from the place and the date. We can still get a lot of information about what planets were, where, how they were aspecting each other. And so we can build up a lot of information without necessarily the time. The time just gives us that bit more accuracy. And it gives us a little bit more insight into the setup of the chart for instance, how different areas of a life might be affected or have those choices for planets affecting. So it's an interesting one. We don't necessarily need time. However, it gives us more accuracy. I'll say that in that way. And there's often ways around it. If somebody comes to me, and in 30 odd years of doing this work, I've had quite a few people come to me and say, well, I don't know my time of birth. There's a number of different questions that I can ask, which usually actually gets us to pretty close to that time. So just wanted to add that in. Uranus, got to talk about Uranus being in the middle of Taurus right now. Now, the sun has gone over Uranus, because the sun, I'm just checking on my chart, I have to have it written down, 19, nearly 20 degrees of Taurus. But Uranus is at 15, and Uranus will be at 15 degrees of Taurus for 2 to 3 weeks. Don't forget, astrology is all about cycles and rhythms. And so what we can start to uncover are some clues to what Uranus travelling through the sign of Taurus might actually mean for each of us individually. I see Uranus in Taurus and Chiron in Aries as being very, very significant for this decade that we're in. For a lot of healing of the planet, for lots of changes for the planet, for really positive energies to get things altered And we're right in the middle of that decade now. And Uranus being in the centre of Taurus will give us all clues. Clues to how our values might be changing. How does your value of money change? You know, it's a sense of how are we dealing with money differently, our values, beliefs. What do we want to change as we go forwards through the next few years? I know that's looking a long way ahead now, and I just say I can't even get to the full moon on Monday because I've got so much to tell you about. But, you know, it's a sense of we're in a big cycle, a big rhythm. We've got plenty of time to make these changes. And what we have from the universe are little clues along the way that help us. It's like little signposts, really, you know. And we can choose. We can, you know, we might have a choice of several different directions, and we can make those choices. But it's being aware of the different choices that we have, which is just so useful. Our universe is very, very magical, and it offers us those clues, but we don't have to take them all on board. And if we just take one, like for instance this morning when I said go out and connect with the earth by hands or by feet, because the moon is in Virgo, and with Pluto where it is right now and certain aspects around Pluto, we're likely to be able, if we wish to receive a few insights for ourselves, maybe, about how we keep ourselves grounded. Moon in Virgo, Sun in Taurus. So it's all a sense of, yes, there is a bigger picture at work, and we have choices there, but we also have choices that we can use on a daily basis to move ourselves forwards. Which actually brings me to another myth around retrograde planets. They're not actually going backwards. Nothing in our universe goes backwards. It really doesn't. However, from our position here on planet Earth, sometimes because planets move at different speeds, and we're moving too on Earth. I mean, we're hurtling through space at a fast pace. Thank goodness for gravity, eh? Because planets move at different speeds, and because we're moving too, and because of our position with the sun, the moon, all of that, sometimes it seems as if planets are moving backwards. And the energy that we sense or that we have available to us feels different, is different, because that particular planet is doing something different. It's slowed down, or it's closer to the sun, or whatever it's doing. It's changed its orbit. So it's still moving forwards, but in a different way. So we can look at things differently. And that's what I love about retrograde planets. They give us an opportunity to look at things differently. And that's exciting, because that's that switch. That's that, ooh, same energy, but slightly different. Similar energy, looking at it in a different way. And Mercury retrograde right now is going to be more about receiving those messages, and maybe those messages being heard. I'm sending out content because I know that a Mercury retrograde is a great time for people to receive it. I would also say that I am double and triple checking it as well before it goes out to the members, just in case, because you do need to dot the I's and cross the T's during a Mercury retrograde as well. So do let me know if you have any questions, won't you? And what else do I want to say? I've got truths coming out as well. Over the last week, and you might have seen a post I put onto my personal profile about this, there is a sense, you know, of things coming to the surface when they're not quite right. And sometimes you just need to say things. And so if you're aware of something being not quite right, and maybe this fits with that. See, Pluto was already retrograde, wasn't he, from the 30th of April, and now we've got Mercury, and then other planets slowly will be perceived to be retrograde over the coming months. It is a sense, you know, of being on purpose. If you're watching this and you were watching from, gosh, probably from last year, you'll know that I've said an awful lot about getting our messages clear, especially business messages, getting them on point and making certain that they resonate from our heart. You know, that truthfulness. Well, this time that we're now coming into, and the next month or two, is when we're going to start to see the truth in people's messages. And Mercury retrograde is a part of it. So seeing the truth in our own messages as well, and standing up for them, is perhaps something else that we can do as preparation. So if I was to say to you, what's a great preparation that you can do, especially going towards that full moon next week? So yeah, I knew I'd get to the full moon, but I'm still going to do something else to do with the full moon in here, because it's a powerful one. It's on an eclipse. But as we move, as things are growing, by the way, Sun in Taurus, growing moon towards next week's full moon. This is a great time for actually planting something in the garden if you're in the northern hemisphere. Great time. So I'm going to be planting my planting woad for natural dye. Anyway, I've digressed again. So what are we doing this week? Think about what your core message is. It can be business, it can be personal, it can just be what you feel you value, again, what you feel you're valuing, you know, that Uranus in Taurus. And when I look at a chart, I do find it very difficult to separate out the planets, even though I'll talk to you about individual planets. It's always knowing what the energies that they're blended with, you know, because everything is the whole. We are the whole planet, you know, Earth, and the universe is the whole universe. So it's all a blend all of the time. So a question, I want to garden this week. Oh, it's a good time, really good time this week. I mean, yeah, it's a real sense of growing. And as we go towards that full moon on Monday, the gravity, obviously between a new moon and a full moon, the water table is being pulled up so that the roots and the seeds, they don't have so far to reach down for the water. So it is a really good time when we're in this time of getting very close to the full moon. Well, I say close, it's next Monday, but we're nearer to the full moon really now than the new. It's a real growing energy, and that water table is being pulled up so that whatever we plant can reach the nourishment of water, and this works symbolically too, can reach that nourishment easier. And the closer that we get to that full moon, so the higher the water table becomes. And then at the full moon, that's when then things will start to diminish again. And the water table starts to go down, and that's when plants get stronger. So anyway, so yeah, excellent time to garden this week. And especially today with the moon in Virgo. Just love the moon in Virgo. It is a good time. I do enjoy, there's certain places where the planets find themselves that lend themselves so obviously to things that we can do. And that's what I hope to bring to you with the star clues and just in these lives, just little hints and tips, because as you start to do that, you'll want to go deeper. I know you will, and brilliant, please do. But as you start to do that, that's when we start to open ourselves to the insights from nature and from everything that's to do with our planet and our universe. So, I will do another thing, something for the full moon. Please do tag me in any questions you have. I love answering questions, and actually quite a bit of today came out of questions. Time of birth came out of questions. I was asked a question about Uranus because I put a post into the group about Uranus mid-Taurus, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit, and I was asked some questions, so I thought, right, I'll tackle that in this live, because knowing that Uranus is in the middle of Taurus right now, knowing we're in the middle of our real significant decade of change, and personally our personal astrology is such that we are in a transformative time. It's magic, it's magical. And so ask me if you have any questions, come into the group lots, talk lots. I love to see you there. And thank you so much for watching today. Thank you. As always, with love from Alison.